it's a command that's used heavily in recruitment, being able to at a quick glance be able to see a player's summoner score, a player's power, and now more importantly their fluff score. For a long time, players and clubs have trusted this to be able to see exactly like how focused a player is. Just the fact that you have a summoner score of 300,000, that's fantastic, but you have 2-3 characters that are G8s, and then what else, right? Is it really worth it, or is it not, worth it to be able to have this player within our club? Are they going to be able to have an impact or not have an impact? All right. Looking at my own fluff score, as you can see, it's not particularly great. Even though I've been playing the game for quite a long time, over a year now. I've been playing it since prior to global launch. Not the leanest player in the crowd, simply because it took me a solid 6 to 8 months to realize what the hell I'm doing within the game and how I'm supposed to be focusing and not focusing. But looking at Peach, for example, much more focused, playing the game for just over a year now, and she's absolutely obliterating my fluff score. It's going to take me a very long time for me to be able to catch up to it. And having a fluff score of 7.6 with the new formula, with the new metric, is really key. And this is also something that we want to showcase to everybody. We wanted to have it available so that when players compare themselves against everybody else, they're able to go in and see how did they rank within the community as a whole. So what we've done is we have within our server, we have a channel called the Eve Fluff Report, and this Fluff Report is going to be updated on a weekly basis. We just regenerated that sheet this morning, so the names that are in that sheet, the top 100 players, are as of today, and they will stay that to that point up until this time next week, when we're going to rerun that report and look at who the new top 100 players are. These top 100 players are taken into account from a total of, give me 1 second, let me make sure that I have the numbers correct. They are taken from a total of 600 clubs that Eve looks at and helps out in a variety of different ways. And it's also taken into consideration not just the players from the top 100 clubs, but it's actually taking players from all those 624 clubs to be exact, which includes 17,000 different players. So it's a little bit more than just the top 100 clubs, because let's be honest, not all of us belong to the top 100 clubs. I actually think you are in the top. Let me see here. Yeah, there you go. You're number 49. You're number 49 on the top 100 list. Congratulations, man. Very nice little fluff score there. Very lean, as people will call it. And this fluff score, like I said, this report is going to be on a weekly basis. It's something nice that people can take a look at. Yeah, okay, I know it's a very long screenshot, and that's the reason why I strongly recommend that all of you go in, open the original, and you can take a look at the full list. We are going to showcase the top 3 players. So in this case, it's going to be JC from Pride 404, Gambit from Disney Misfits, and Johnny Law from Frontierland. They're the 3 lowest fluff scores that Eve has ever come across in the history of the fluff score, so to speak. Unfortunately, I haven't found a nicer way to be able to showcase all 100 players, and it is a lot of different players. So it's unfortunate, but it does showcase every single one of them, shows you how you rank within it. It also shows you as a player, what is it that you would want to thrive towards? How is it that you want to be able to achieve, right? To be able to get into that top 100, if that's something that you guys want to brag about. Maybe you guys have competitions. I know, like I said, I've seen plenty of clubs and people within clubs that literally have competitions. Peach has her own competition with a couple of different people, and she'll go in and spend a few gems just to be able to get that 0.1 reduction on her fluff score. Now, as far as the fluff score is concerned, because I know I've had a lot of people ask me this, us, not just myself, literally the entire moderation staff, Peach, Amelia, Drax, all of us, what is in the Fluff Score? How is the Fluff Score calculated? What is it looking at? So what I can tell you is that in the past, the Fluff Score was taking a look into G8 and G7 characters. So as we all know, summoner score completely falls. You get summoner score, you get points for your summoner score based on your progression within the game. You complete a different node in a different campaign, you get a couple of points to your summoner score. You unlock a character, you get a couple of points to your summoner score. You 7-star that character, you get 1,000. You get 1,000 points to your summoner score. Right? That increases your summoner score. But just the fact that you have a character of 7 stars doesn't really mean anything. That character can be 7 stars gear 1 for all that matters, and that character is not going to have any sort of impact in any sort of mode. You're not going to be able to do any damage in CC. You're not going to be able to do any damage in PvP. Like, it's just literally a character that's sitting there, that's collecting dust, and is just literally looking fluffy. It's that nice plush toy that you have on your mantle that you give to your kid. So that's why the original Fluff Score was taking a look at all the G8s and G7s, and it was comparing the number of G8s, the number of G7s that a player has, to be able to calculate how fluffy that player is. Is it a player that's just collecting characters and not really maxing them out, not really putting the gear and the materials that are so hard to come by into them to make them worthwhile, right? Herc at G8 is obviously going to be much more impactful than a Herc at G7. You unlock different abilities, you're able to get more power, you're able to get more damage out of him, right? If I were to go in and take a look at the stats for Hercules, for example, oh, that's nice. Eve doesn't seem to want to behave with the stats now. No, she doesn't want to behave with the stats. Seems like one of the images missed out. So I'm gonna remove that before my eyes go blind there. But you would be able to go in and see, and we'll have that fixed. We'll have that fixed right after the stream. Shouldn't take long. But you would be able to go in and see the stats for a character based on. Let me go up here and take a look at a different one. Based on a specific gear level. So that's why gear 8s, for example. It's in French, but it'll do. At gear 8, we'll have a different attack, different health, different speed. So it does improve the abilities of that particular character, the relevancy of that particular character, right? That's why we used to take a look at the gear 8s and gear 7s. Now, what we've done with the Fluff Score in this particular release, and that's the reason why every single one of you should have probably seen that your Fluff Score did increase. Some players had it increased by 1 or 2 points. Some players had it increased by as much as 10 points. And there's a reason for that. And the reason why that range varies to that degree is because what we've done is we've taken a look at every single character within the game. And by we is not just the Eve moderation, the Eve staff, the Eve people that are helping every single day, but it's the community as a whole. And there's a series of different people that have worked with us from different clubs, different alliances, that have helped us put together a tier list, taking a look at every single character within the game to be able to identify what is their relevancy within the game. And it's not within just one game mode such as PvP or CC. It's every single game mode. It's towers, it's raid, it's conquest, it's sorcerer's tournament defenses, and how relevant those characters are within every single spectrum. Different categories will hold different weights. So for example, PvE is not going to hold nearly as much weight as PvP, right? And there's a reason for that. Oh, thank you, Peach. It's not gonna hold as much relevance to it, because let's be honest, PvE you play for a little bit, but the reality is PvP is one of the game modes that should be getting reworked. It's one of the game modes that should be a lot more fun because you're facing off against other people. It's real life battles. So as I mentioned, we did create the tier list. That the tier list does showcase the different characters across every single game mode that is within the game. And as such, we've ranked them from S to F, and we have 9 different categories. Every single category will impact the Fluff Score to a certain degree. So if you have an S character that's maxed out, they're going to reduce your Fluff Score much more than an F character maxed out. So if you are the person that maxed out Isma, has them at G8, you are not going to have as much of an impact to your fluff score as somebody that does have Baymax or Hercules at G8. That is correct, guys. So if you don't add stars, you would realistically lower your fluff score. And there is a trade-off to that. I mean, if your goal is to have the lowest fluff score possible, then yeah, keep all your characters at 5 stars and have them at G8. But it's not, the fluff score is not meant to just showcase how good a player is. It's supposed to show you how focused you are. And we all know that a 5-star Gear 8 Herc is not going to be as powerful as a 7-star G8 Herc. Right, and there's a reason for that. Every single star level does increase your health, does increase your speed, does increase your attack. Like, it does increase the base stats for that particular character. So that's why we split them up across a variety of different categories. Now, one thing that I do wanna call out, because I've had a couple of different people look at this and say that they don't particularly agree with it. It's not meant to be the holy grail of tier lists. It's what the community believes to be accurate. And the one character that really stands out across this entire tier list is Ursula. And I've had a lot of different people ask me, how is Ursula not S tier? Like, she is absolutely phenomenal. And she is. I absolutely love her. I managed to unlock her with my old club, and as soon as I unlocked her, she instantly went to G8, and she is an absolute beast. She is fantastic in PvP, she's fantastic in my Sorcerer's Tournament defense and attack, fantastic in Conquest. I absolutely love her. But there is one mode that Ursula does really good, but she does really good on the other side of the fence, and that mode is raids. Ursula's entire kit is absolutely useless in the raids. You can't use it for anything with the exception of her basic and her cauldron, which does some damage, but that'll come every 4 turns. And I can't think of any phase within the raids with the exception of phase 4 where you'd be able to pull that off more than once. She just flat out is not going to be able to do it. She's not strong. That's not her main point. So from that category of the game, it ranks the lowest out of almost any character. Like, not as low as Isma, for example, but she does rank low. Like, she just doesn't have it. Not to mention the fact that she's an insanely long farm. So I'm curious, why do you disagree that she's not, let's say, not good in the raids? I don't want to say that she sucks, but she's just flat out not good. Not to mention that Ursula is not an individual player character. She's a club character. Yeah, her leadership is fantastic, and she can do big damage with it. But it's, from what I've seen, is she doesn't hold any weight as far as a lot of the other different characters in the raids. She's not accessible. It's insanely hard to be able to unlock her, flat out. We've taken a look, like I said, at 17,000 players that Eve knows about. Out of the 17,000 players that are in there, I'm gonna ask Peach and Amelia to ping me those stats, but the number of the percentage of players that actually have Ursula unlocked out of those 17,000 players, considering that the raids have been around for how many months now? 3 months, 4 months, maybe even longer than that. And Herc doesn't suck in the raid, man. He can have insane damage, especially in phase 2. As soon as he goes invincible, he's going to allow his entire team to go in and benefit off of that. The eels are not going to be able to poison him. The eels are not going to be able to damage him. So I don't agree with that. I actually think that Herc is much more powerful than Ursula. Thanks, Amelia. So yeah, as you can see, only 23% of players have Ursula unlocked. She's an insanely hard unlock. Out of that, only 6% of those players have her maxed out. Like, she's not that easy to get. She's not that easy to get up there, and that's the reason why in the raids, to be able to even have her unlockable in the raids in heroics, you are talking about 28% of players that have her unlocked. That's less than 5% of all players that we monitor, the 17,000 players that we've looked at to have her. And that's the reason why she's not ranked that high within the raids. And there's a couple of other characters in here that I'm sure people are gonna have an issue with, that people are gonna have a suggestion about it, and we'd love to hear it. We'd love to hear why you think a particular character should be ranked higher, or why a particular character should be ranked lower. They're better, they're worse, whatever the case is. We'd love to hear that, because this tier list that we have, because it's impacting the fluff score so directly, as I mentioned, depending on where your character is within the tier list, will reduce your fluff score by a certain degree. The difference between an S character and an A plus character reducing your fluff score is very, very minimal. You're talking about, I think it's 0.005 points, for example. So it's not a huge impact. It will have a huge impact when you're talking about G8ing Cogsworth versus G8ing Hades, for example. Then you're gonna have a much, much bigger impact, right? But we love to hear that. We're going to be taking a look at this tier list on a weekly basis. Whenever new patches come out on Wednesday, any sort of adjustments to character, any sort of adjustments to game modes, such as the new game modes that are supposed to be coming out in the very near future, and obviously hopefully the raid, we will be taking a look at all these characters with the community as a whole, and potentially rearrange them and potentially change them up. And every single one of these characters are accessible through the Eve commands. So to be able to go in and take a look at them, you'd be able to go in and say, okay, I want to see all the S characters. So this will show you all the S tier characters. We'll rework the commands in a little while just to get them a little prettier, but it does showcase all of the different characters within that specific tier. So if you want to go in and take a look at all the A plus characters, you can, right? So you'd be able to go in, and these tier lists were also created not necessarily from the whale point of view of having those characters maxed and always having accessibility to them, by whether you're going to buy them or you're going to buy their packs or whatever the case is. It's from everybody's point of view. It's from free-to-play players, of how impactful the character is for free-to-play players. How early can you unlock them? How valuable they are earlier on in the game versus later on in the game. Yeah, I know you've used every single character in the raids, and I've taken a look at a lot of your screenshots. They're actually, some of them are pretty nice, and I believe you when you say that. And I'll take a look at Ursula again to see exactly how impactful she is. When we're talking to the community, nobody said that she holds any weight to the raids simply because you don't use her. I don't know if it's just a pet peeve. Nobody wants to go Ursula versus Ursula, but she's not utilized. But we'll take a look at it. One thing I did want to call out with the S tier is you might notice a couple of different names in there, such as Amelia and Peach. They're S tier for very obvious reasons. They're the Eve moderators, and they do an absolutely fantastic job in our servers. Every single time somebody comes over, they come over, is like, who's Amelia and who's Peach? Like, who are they? Can I unlock them? What are their stone recommendations? You know what I mean? So they're in there, and they're going to stay in there because they are absolutely invaluable to the team as a whole. There's no question about that. But yeah, as I mentioned, this is the reason for the tier list. Like I said, we'll take a look at it on a weekly basis, and we'll adjust as things need to go. It is something that we believe it was very important because we wanted to show the relevance between you gearing up characters that make an impact versus you gearing up characters because they look cool, right? Like, I love Jack Sparrow, one of my favorite characters in Disney, but he sucks. That's about it. He sucks. So I'm not gonna be in any rush to go in and G8 him, considering I have a variety of different characters above him in so many other different tiers. Thanks, Mickey. One thing that we also introduced over the last few days, whenever we introduced the that's right, Peach, I didn't. One of the area that we looked at when I mentioned all the different game modes in the game was the Towers of Endurance and the Special Event Towers, and the relevance of characters within those towers. Are the characters eligible for every single level of the tower? So like, are they an Oceanic character that can be utilized in the Stitch Tower and the Trident Tower? Are they a mythical character that can be utilized in the in the Stitch Tower, or a princess, right? So we did take a look into that aspect as well, not to mention Towers of Endurance. Like, there's a reason why Hero is so up there. He's a very early unlock. He can be used in a lot of different towers, and I've personally had him carry me through the Towers of Endurance. Like, absolutely fantastic. And there's a reason why he's there. It impacts the game so significantly. Going back to the Fluff Score, one of the other commands that we introduced was the ability to go in and take a look at your Fluff Score over time. Now, this particular command is for Patreon tier 3 users only. So it's the Patreon users, the clubs that do have the nightly club sync enabled and the stats enabled, where Eve will be able to go in and pull your nightly stats, your donations, your dungeon, your PvP attempts for every single character, for every single player within your club, and track them over time to show you what a player has done, what a player has not done. If you are the kind of club that utilizes a strike system, this is something that would be useful for you. But the player chart is something that was introduced a long time ago when the stats were enabled, and it's able to showcase you, for example, how many raid tickets you've got. So if you wanted to go in and take a look at your raid tickets on a day-to-day basis, you'd be able to go in and do that and plot it over time to showcase how many raid tickets you've got. And a lot of the club leads and co-leads would utilize this for their own club requirements. One of the other things that we've done is the ability to go in and take a look at your Fluff Score over time. So you can go in and take a look to see exactly what has happened, how your Fluff Score has progressed. And as you can see, my Fluff Score, when the new formula was introduced, jumped from 12.5 to 16.7. So it went up a solid 4 points in my Fluff Score, and that's because of the tier list. It's because I have characters that are not S that were geared up, and they've been geared up for quite a while, unfortunately, but there's nothing I can do about it. But this would be able to be enabled, and if there's any Patreon tier 3 players that do want to give this ability to your club members, please let me know. Open up a ticket within our Eve support server. Any one of us would be able to enable a specific channel for your members to just run this command. So not necessarily to see all the other different stats that you see if that's not something that you choose to do, but to be able to go in and look at their own progression over time. So that way I can go in and take a look at the last week, I can go in and take a look at the last month, the last year. As long as you are part of a club that does have Patreon tier 3, you would be able to go in and take a look at that. It's something that a lot of players have asked us for, a lot of members have asked us for, to say, okay, well, you know what, like, how am I progressing? How is it that I'll have that? Right. So this is the player chart command. It's essentially EC player chart utilizing the player name or player ID if you choose, with the chart type of Fluff and the duration of 30 days. So this is something that was asked for. It's something that is now available. Already covered the Fluff Report, already covered the tier list. The one new command that was just launched literally about half hour ago, like just a few minutes before the stream, is the personalized commands. So Eve, that's great. She's synced in Spanish because I forgot to change her language. Okay, I'm not gonna change her language now. But on the right hand side of my screen, you will be able to see there the different personal commands. And those personal commands are essentially the ability to go in and type in my cares, my info, my spells, and be able to showcase you, because you've already synced with Eve, to showcase you your brief overview of your profile. So in this particular case, the difference between my info and ePlayer is ePlayer is going to go in and show you all the different characters for that player as well, and it requires a player ID. So if you're somebody that just constantly wants to look at your Fluff Score, or constantly wants to look at how what you're ranked as, for example, within tournament, you can go in and do that with my info, and it's going to go in and pull your information and showcase that to you. It's very easy. It's going to be much faster than running a player command that showcases you all the different characters. And this command has been around for a little bit of time. But the really cool command that we wanted to showcase you is the fact that you're able to go in and take a look at your characters. So, and of course, my Discord is cached, which is a very fantastic feature of Discord. So we'll skip right over that because Discord is annoying me. But you'd be able to go in and take a look at my characters and then be able to add any sort of filters that you want to have. One second. There we go. Just a little hiccup there. But yeah, so my characters is going to go in and pull your characters. You don't have to specify your player ID. You don't have to remember what that is. As soon as you sync it, as soon as you sync your Discord profile with Eve in any channel where Eve is available, you'd be able to do this. And what we've done now is we've allowed you to be able to go in and add any sort of filters that you want to have. So if you want to go and take a look at your Oceanics, you would literally just type in Oceanic. Now, if you want to go in and take a look at your princess team, for example, you're able to go in and take a look at all your different princesses and see what they're ranked at. And one thing that I want to point out, as you can see, is Dr. Facilier is in there amongst all those beautiful ladies. The reason why he's in there is because of his movie, because he comes from Princess and the Frog. So the way the filters work is you can type in any word, any portion of the word, or words for that matter, and it's going to go in and take a look at any character with any sort of attribute within DSA that meets that criteria. So if you're doing princess, it's going to look for any affinity, any sort of a role, any sort of duality within the character or movie that fits that criteria. So if I want to do, for example, sensational 6, I don't have to type in the whole sentence, but I can type in sensational, and I want to go and take a look at all the support characters within sensational 6. And what Eve is going to tell me as soon as she replies, and she really doesn't want to behave now. As soon as she replies, thank you, it's going to show me all the support sensational 6 characters that I have unlocked. So what this is going to allow you to do is it allows me to go in and quickly take a look if there's a new game mode that comes out, if there's a new tower that comes out that has a very specific requirement. It's going to give you a very brief overview. Wednesday patch date, new patch comes out, new game modes announced, the new different criteria such as adventurers, right? Right, so what that basically is going to do is going to allow me to go in and say, okay, well, who the hell are my adventurers, right? Who do I have that's an adventurer? Well, there's who I have as an adventurer. And while it's very cool, very important for you to be able to do it yourself, you also have the ability within the personalized version of Eve to be able to go in and scan other players. And what I've done in my previous club, what other players have done in their clubs, is scan for help on CC defenses. So if I wanted to go in and say, okay, Peach, I want to take a look and see what sort of Oceanic offense characters you have, right? I can go in, I can scan Peach, and right off the bat, I get to see every single Oceanic offense character that she has within her inventory. And you can do this with any sort of filters. You can do it based on offense, defense, support, whether you want them to be, whether you want them to be Oceanic or tech or princesses. Maybe you want to take a look at tech princesses if they ever come into the game, right? Or Oceanic princesses. You're able to do this. You're able to go in and type in as many different filters as you want to be able to see what characters that particular person is. And the way you would do that is you would go scan, you would type in, you would literally tag them. So Peach is there, I'd be able to go in and tag Peach. I want to take a look at all the different Oceanic princess offense and be able to see exactly who she has that meets that criteria. And there's only one. It's only Moana that fits the Oceanic princess offense criteria. Okay, well, what if I want to go in and take a look and see what about just Oceanic princesses, right? I want to go in and take a look to see what type of Oceanic princesses she has. Right? And I can see that. I can see the two different princesses she has. If there's a new tower that comes out, there's a new game mode within DSA that comes out that asks for that, it's very easy to be able to do it. It's also very useful from what we've seen to be able to go in and help players on who is it that they want to farm. Well, like, okay, I've gotten this person or I've gotten that person, or maybe I'm working on my BH6 team but I'm not too sure about it. I'm also thinking about getting a mythical team, but I don't know if it's worth it for me to go in and take a look at it. So if Amelia wanted to go in and say, okay, I'm thinking about a mythical team, to be able to do it, apparently Mythic is not in there. No, Mythic should be in there. Or it just doesn't like Amelia. Let's try one more time here. Yeah, it doesn't like Amelia. I'm gonna have to take a look at this, Amelia. She doesn't seem to wanna like you right now. Did you speak ugly to her? Yeah, see? So Peach, for example, I can go in and scan Peach for her mythical. I can go in and scan Peach for her tech. I don't know why she doesn't like Amelia. Maybe Amelia yelled at Eve a little bit too hard today, but we'll see. Dragon Slayer, I can't try it right now. So one of the things about scanning is it's not intended to be done with players that you don't know. That's not its intention. Its intention is for players to sync within the game within Discord. So taking your Discord account and syncing it with Eve. So the way you would do that is there's a user sync command that is within the My Help menu, which would allow you to sync with Eve. Once you do sync with Eve, in order to scan somebody, you need to share channel with them. You need to be in that channel with them because you're tagging them, and that's the reason why I wouldn't be able to go in and say, okay, scan Dragon Slayer, and be able to go in and look at all the different characters they have within a specific category, right? And that's the reason for it. If you do have Eve in your own servers, in your own channels, I strongly recommend that you get your club members to go in and sync so that you're able to go in and take a look at that. Like I said, I've used it so many times when club members come and say, who should I farm? Who should I be focused on? I'm like, okay, well, who do you have? Oh, I'm not sure, I'll have to take a look into game, and I can't remember if this character was at this star or this character was at that star or the gear level or whatever the case is. This allows you to very easily, very quickly be able to scan that player. So that's the intention of it. And like I said, you can add as many different filters as you want. Obviously, the more filters you add, the more you're going to be restricting your results. You're not going to be able to get all the different characters, but you're going to be able to go in and get one or two, right? So the reason why Eve is a Discord bot is because you can use it everywhere, right? DSA is a mobile game. You're going to use your phone. Odds are every single person here uses Discord on their phone. If they don't, I'd be insanely shocked. As such, you can go in and do it wherever you are. You can go in and help players within your Discord channel to be able to go in and scan them and show and tell them, okay, well, you know, I see that you have your Pain and Panic at Gear 6, so I don't know if it makes sense for you to go in and farm Meg before it, for example, versus going and farming PMP. Maybe, you never know, right? But that's the that's the intent for it, and that's the reason why I strongly recommend, and we recommend everybody uses the scan command, the personalized commands. Instead of going and typing in your player ID every single time, my info will bring up your Fluff Score. It's much faster. It puts a lot less stress on Eve. As you can see, she got Amelia to ask her too many questions, and she's revolting against her. So we'll have to go back and have a chat with Eve and Amelia to see why Eve doesn't like Amelia at this particular point in time. So that's the intent of it. Hey Britt, yeah, unfortunately you did miss it, but I did record it. I am going to be putting this up on YouTube and sharing it within the Eve support server so that you guys can have it. We will have a very not very, but a detailed description of it. In a nutshell, the new Fluff Score takes into account tier lists, and the tier list that you see on screen is the tier list that was created by the community, ranking every single character with across every single game mode of DSA, raids, conquest, sorcerer's tournament, defense and attack, CC defenses, PvE, towers of endurance, event towers, special events. Every single game mode has been taken a look at and has been taken into account, with some game modes having higher importance over a character than others. But we'll have all of that on stream and would be able to share with every single one of you guys, and you guys can reference it. And like I said before, if you guys do have a suggestion on the tier list, if you do have a suggestion for Eve as a whole, or you just want to come over to our support server and just ask why our S tier list looks the way it does and contains you know, a few very rare characters that you might not be able to unlock in game right off the bat, please come on by, ask us, ping us. You can go ahead and ping anywhere within our support server. You can ping Momo, which is our moderation staff. It's our wonderful crew that we have going on here, and any single one of us can go and help you guys out, can answer all the questions, can show you guys how to run the different commands, because, as you know, there's quite a few different commands within Eve, and every single day we have somebody coming that's been using Eve for a long time that says, oh, I never knew this was a possibility. So that's the long and short of it, so to speak. We are gonna have a new suggestion channel opening up within our server, so that you guys can make your suggestions. The community itself can take a look at them, can start voting on them, and start being able to have even more of an input. Not to say that you guys don't have an input now, because we do have our suggestion channel where we have multiple people coming up with a crazy whack of different ideas and different suggestions within it, and it's constantly looked at by us to be able to see where is it that we need to go. Little Jen, so the Fluff Score itself is going to be Gear 7 and Gear 8, unless you see the tiered Fluff Score, the adjusted Fluff Score, which is going to be for players under level 67. In which case, players under level 67, I believe it's between level 60 and 67. It's not Gear 7s and Gear 8s that are taken into account, but it's Gear 6 and Gear 7s. And the reason for that is because majority of characters within DSA require level 67 to be able to be G8. You can equip 4 out of 6 gear pieces for them, but you can't equip the last 2, which means you're not going to get the last benefit. You're not going to be able to unlock the last bit of abilities. And of course, with the wonderful little announcement that Glue gave us a few days ago, we are going to be adjusting this formula and this calculation as soon as G9 comes out. Most likely not going to do it if it's going to be G8.5, as we've seen it when G8 came around. But once the full gear tier does come out, we will have to go and adjust the formula and adjust the tier list and adjust everything else. So like I said, this is going to be something that's going to be maintained on a weekly basis, and we hope that you guys as a whole are going to be able to continue enjoying it, and give us your suggestions, give us your feedback. What do you like, what you don't like, what would you like to see, and what you want completely taken out of you, if there is anything of that nature. So that's in a nutshell. That's all we had to offer for you guys. New tier list, new Fluff Score calculation. We'll have that explanation up for you guys. The my characters and scan commands have been reworked. I think you guys are gonna like them. Every single one of us absolutely loves them. We hated the way the old commands worked, simply because it was very clunky. It was very hard to type in the information, and to be completely honest with you, it was very few people that actually utilize them. We're hoping that now they're a lot easier to utilize, that it's gonna be much more widely accepted, so to speak. It's supposed to be something that's supposed to help you guys with the game. It is not supposed to make your life more difficult by typing 100 characters to get the two characters that you have in game. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't know if you guys have any questions or if there's anything specific that you wanted to see, but glad you guys like it. Thanks for dropping by, Ash, Emma, Di, Britt, all you guys. Alright, well, if there's no other questions, you guys know where to find us. We're gonna get Peach and Amelia to post our Discord server. I'm pretty sure that every single person here is in our support server, but if you're not, please do drop on by and join us. Like I said, every single week, every single Monday, we are going to be updating the EVE Fluff Report and showcase who are the lowest fluffers in the game. Is Dai gonna drop the score, or is Dai gonna increase his score? Like I said, love the competition with everybody. Love how you guys try to reduce your fluff score as much as possible. It's quite fun, and it's annoying that I have such a high fluff score that I can't even rank in the top 100 players. But hopefully in time. You never know, right? Alright folks, well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I will have this all cut, recorded, and dropped on YouTube, so that way you guys can reference it. You can share it for everybody that's in Europe that's probably waking up right now. I apologize for not catching you at a good time, but I will have this available for you guys to watch later. And as always, drop on by, say hi, open up any tickets, and ask us any questions that you guys have. Thanks everybody for coming by.